All right, welcome to the Phys Ed Summit 2016. Thank you so much for joining us for the 24-hour back-to-back global event. All right, we could not make this happen without you. We're very humbled by the outpouring of support and promotion of the summit from each of you. By sharing this with one person, you're able to impact hundreds or even thousands of students. Thank you so much for being here to push best practices, effective health and physical education, professional development forward. This is an amazing health and physical education community, and we're so excited to be a part of it. A reminder that we are using technology today to make this thing happen. And if for some reason the video feed stops, please check out our Tazo for a new video link. All right, it may take us a few minutes to get it started and roll again, but thank you for your progress. All right, after the summit, we will post the feedback survey to the Phys Ed Summit 2016 homepage, and I'll put a link on the Tazo as well. And again, we hope that you will provide us with some feedback so that we can make our next event even better. Your PD certificate, you will need to fill out the quick survey after the summit. All right, get going in here just a couple of seconds. A couple more things. Just think, you know, the Tazo is there, and you guys can chat in the back channel. You guys can learn from each other. It's great, and it's an effective way to really learn more. But again, don't forget to feel free to share this information that you're learning from Claudia today, and post it on social media using the hashtag PhysEdSummit, just so everyone else out there can see and learn from it too, even if they're not in that Tazo. All right. We are running some badges today, all right? And these badges are really, really cool. And I just want to show you just something real quick. I think I'm going to stick with this. You can go ahead and you can search. I'm sorry, in the Tazo, I have a link for the Phys Ed Summit badges. It'll take you to a blog post explaining them. You can earn some badges today for your professional development, which is amazing. And again, if you click on that link, it'll kind of walk you through step by step how to do that. So find some free time today, earn some badges. It's an exciting way, you know, to continue to challenge yourself to learn more and more for your professional development. So without further ado, we are here with Claudia Brown. Hi, Claudia.
Good morning. Good morning.
And she's got right now coming up the first day, the last day, and a little bit in the middle. And Claudia is joining us today. She is a mom, a teacher, a curriculum leader. She's president-elect of MOPERD 2016. She has a Master's of Educated from Springfield College, Chelsea College of Human Movement, and the American International College. She's K-12 PE and health certified, and she currently teaches high school health education and lead curriculum development K-12 for health and physical education in her district. So Claudia is a rock star. We appreciate you, Claudia.
Thanks, Matt.
I truly enjoy that I'm in her session and moderating her session. So welcome, Claudia, and the show is yours.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So first of all, I want to say good morning to everyone and thank Matt for all the time that he's given me in preparing for my first Phys Ed Summit. I'd like to thank Team Pedagogy and the whole Phys Ed Summit team because you're just amazing. You're amazing. And you're the kind of folks that I totally want to hang out with. And mostly I want to send my good wishes and prayers to Kathleen Bodie and to Bill Bodie. And you've got a summit of a team behind you. So I think you've got some really good friends there. And I hope to be counted among them. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. We're twinsies in our pink
yes.
shirt. So
got our summits. Yes.
Staying Bodie strong. So
that's right. That's right. So I just want to I want to get my face off the screen as quickly as possible. So what I'd love to say to you all is I read a book by a television actor, Tony Danza, called I'd Like to Apologize to Every Teacher I Ever Met. And in the book, there was a statement made by a teacher who Mr. Danza thought was going to retire. And that teacher, he was surprised to see him on the first day of school. And he said to him, you changed your mind. He said, yeah, I thought I'd try to get it right this time. And that's how I feel every year, every day going into my job. I've been teaching for a long time, and I never feel that I've reached a pinnacle or a place where I can relax. And so even being here today is a big challenge for me. I am not a tech guru like all these wonderful people who are supporting me today, but I know how to have fun in the classroom with my students, and I care about them deeply. So hopefully you can glean something from what I'm going to present to you today.
I don't think we're going to have any problems picking up something from you, Claudia. And that's right. We were talking, we were kind of running through this yesterday, as maybe you're getting your presentation ready, but constantly growing, always changing things up, and just what's best for our students and what's best for us. So
Absolutely. So are you ready for this?
We are ready to go.
Quite
a few people chatting in the Tazo right now too.
Okay. Oh, please feel free to make suggestions, ask questions. I'm happy to help in any way I can, but I bet you'll help me more than I'll help you.
Yeah, and as Claudia's grabbing her presentation right now and starting her screen share, she was asking about and looking for some feedback on, how you can kind of embed technology into what she's doing. So as you're out there and as you're listening, please thinking about and sharing just different ways that maybe we can enrich her program and her setup here with a little bit of technology. So clicking off of my face, this is all on Claudia and her presentation now, and it's time to get started.
All right, so so now you're not looking at my mug anymore. I hope you're all seeing my presentation. I was going to dance for you, like was in the beautiful dancing that happened on Twitter last night. I'd like to be able to make my moves like that. So what I've done here, I actually gave a quick overview of this at the PE Institute 2 years ago during the first ever phys ed camp and during the demo slam. I just talked about it briefly, but I've had enough folks have asked me about it here in Massachusetts, and also from folks who were at the PE Institute. So I thought I would do my presentation on this. I think in the future I'd like to enhance and add more to it with my work in skills-based health, because that has become sort of what's driving me in health education. So I teach high school sophomores, and so anybody who teaches high school knows that they are a totally special breed, and they're just incredible people. And I really do believe that, we are, like Jackie Robinson says, that we are only as important as the impact we have on other lives. So our lives only matter to the degree that we can impact others. So I try to remember that, because my students won't learn unless they are engaged and they know that I care about them. So first day of class, and just a reminder that, the best way to find ourselves is to lose ourselves in the service to others. And I think that's what PE and health teachers are. And clearly, you're sitting here on a Saturday spending 24 hours in this incredible professional development. You're magical. You are magical, and you are so valuable. And I hope you can continue to raise others up to be better than they think they can be, both your students and your colleagues. So I've always loved PE. I loved it as a child. I loved it as a young adult. I love it now. And I've always believed that health was connected or overlapped with PE. But really, it's more than that. It isn't simply being in shape. It isn't simply eating healthy foods. And it's not just the absence of illness or disease. The things that I believe we should be teaching our students now, and I know the buzz is out there, and welcome to all you folks from, I can't believe how many people are from everywhere. I just love this. I'd love to be in a room with all of you right now. I guess I am.
The room is packed. The room
is, that's awesome. So 5 years ago, and I'm only going to briefly touch on my work in skills-based health today, but 5 years ago, Sarah Benez, who was at the time was at Boston University, came to do a professional development with my district, and she turned on a light and opened a door towards the type of skills we should be teaching our students. So that's what you see on the bottom of this slide, analyzing the influences that affect our health, whether those are from our family or our culture, or our friends, all those influences, all those things, technology, the media, how those things influence our own health and the health of others around us. How to find valid and reliable health information in our communities and online. How to effectively communicate with each other in a healthy way. We can communicate in plenty of ways, but are we communicating in a healthy way? Making decisions that we know will enhance the health of ourselves and others. Setting goals for the future so that we can live a healthy life. And managing ourselves, and imagine 16-year-olds thinking about self-management. 16-year-olds are very powerful at this, practicing the skill of advocacy. They believe passionately in the things they believe in, and I found that to be such a wonderful unit to teach. So I thank Sarah for coming in and opening that door for us and turning on that light, because that's where we've been headed over the last 5 years. But let's go to first day. So I'm a little old school in some ways, but not in too many ways. I do believe in setting a tone in my classroom because they are 16, and I do believe that caring is the most important thing we can offer our students, and fairness. And I have set high expectations for them because they will rise to what you ask of them. So beginning with expectation, students come in, and sometimes they give you the slunk into the seat, or, with the backpack, they're trying to establish themselves and to be cool, and they come in with their own agenda. So I set that quickly at having a seating chart. I've done this frequently, but sometimes I change it up because I'm always trying to be better. And I put the seating chart all over the room, and I have them take documents. And I'm pretty diminutive person. I'm about 5'3", and so some of those 6'2" boys come in and they look at me and they think, "Who's this?" So they grab my materials, and then I immediately have a writing assignment, and it's around their health. I have them choose from quotes that I've offered them and why they chose the quote to give them their first quiz grade. But really, it's not about the quiz grade at all. It's about setting a tone. And so I love to just say, we insert internal eye rolls here, because they don't give me the eye roll right away. they wait a few minutes. But I like that because I know that I'm putting on a show for them just to set a tone. So again, on that first day, I'd like to hear from you. What is your thought? I know everybody's different about how they begin their school year. And some folks will come in and just let students choose seats or choose their groups. Or I'd love to hear from you what you think about this allegedly tough way that I have of starting my day. But once they've been in the room for a while, they have a different read on me, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll get some ideas shared in the Tassel here too. So
yeah, I'd love to hear what you think. And then, of course, I haven't told you this, but we are semester-based health and PE in freshman and sophomore year. So we have 78-minute classes every other day. And so like Matt and I were talking about yesterday, it's almost a semester's worth. It's really more like a quarter and a half of health. So you have to squeeze a lot into that time. But I always try to keep students moving, sitting as little as possible whenever I can help it. And so at this time, I usually throw in, they've taken a quiz and they're pretty mad at me already. And so I changed the tone again by having them move. I offer a few safety suggestions so that they won't take a Dixie over their backpacks. And we play several rounds of Have You Ever? And there are, of course, questions that, I have two lists. I have a friend's list, and your Aunt Matilda's list, and it's the Have You Ever? And then if the answer to the question is yes, you find a new seat. And I always have some desks that are, sort of like musical chairs. There's always a few desks you can't sit at. And so if you don't get a seat, you come up and ask the next question. And you can choose your own, or you can choose from your friends' list, which are more daring, or you could choose from Aunt Matilda's list, which are really safe questions. And then you always get the first seat. And I never ask anybody a question twice, or I never let them come up twice. They put them in that position. But now they're starting to step out of their comfort zone, and there's a lot of smiles going around. People are laughing and having fun. And so that lasts, a good 10 to 12 minutes. And now we have a different frame of mind. And then, of course, typical on the first day, the last Have You Ever is, have you ever taken 2 quizzes in one class? And there go the eye rolls, and they're definitely not internal now. They feel safer with me, and they show me that they're thinking, how can you be giving us another quiz? But this is just a formative assessment to see what they know about skills-based health, because we are teaching it now in our middle school, and we're teaching it in our freshman classes, but we're really still developing. And so I want to know where they're at. So that's more at first day. So as this is all happening, I ask for volunteers to do some things in the classroom, simple stuff that teachers, of course, ask. But then with a very serious face, and I think this is critical, I think it's really important to have a certain look on your face so that students can't quite read you initially, because they love the surprise in the end. I asked them to write their initials on the board. And of course, now they look concerned because, have I done something wrong? Have I done something wrong? What have I done? And I don't tell them, why their initials are there. Initially, pardon the pun, I tell them after we've completed a few things. And then I tell them about the High Five program. Now I give a shout out and kudos to Carol Martini, who's a retired teacher from Andover, Mass. She taught high school PE. And she did something similar to this, but as we do so many times, when we get a great idea, we take another teacher's idea and we make it our own, an idea that will work for our students. And so I loved her the positivity that just just radiated from her when she was around her students. So I took that program probably 10 years ago, and I have loved it ever since, and so have my students. So I use the description, anytime a student demonstrates a healthy behavior, and now go back to those skills again, and think about those skills, and then think about social, emotional, intellectual, environmental, occupational, all of those ways that we need to be healthy in all of those areas, not just are we eating right, are we going to the gym? And students can nominate one another for demonstrating healthy behaviors. And I can nominate them. They can nominate students in other classes who currently have me as a teacher. And as you'll see in a couple of minutes, I have someone keep a record of all of that, because there's way too much if you try to take this all on as the teacher. So once they have been nominated 5 times, and we keep a good record of this because it's going to be important for the last day of class. Um, once they have been nominated 5 times, they're invited to go on a field trip. And so far, the field trip that I've taken has been, we're very fortunate to have one of the homes of Project Adventure about a half an hour away from us in Beverly, Mass, which is actually where I live. And I invite them to come on this field trip at the end of the school year if they've been nominated 5 times. Now, I don't have the funds to pay for every student for this, and that's, love to hear your thoughts on that. Find another 24 hours in the day. But I asked the students if they'd like to come, and if the trip costs $50, so I tell them it's optional, but I'd love to have all of them be there. And eventually, almost all of my students are included in this, and many of them choose to come. And it's quite an incredible day of, cooperative activities, starting with low elements and then going to high elements. And they miss a day of school, of course, which every teenager loves. And we bring a lunch, but we're back right at 1:59, right before the bell rings for the end of the day, so that they can participate in all that they need to participate in after school. So now they're interested because, their names are on the board for a positive reason. And I never take high fives away. I've had students say to me, "Oh, you should deduct a high five." And I'll say, never, never, no matter what. You earn them, and you keep them. The high fives also have another place in my classroom, because they also contribute to the health money, in quotes, that students earn during the course of the semester. So now picture this first day, they've come in, I say to them, find the periphery of the room. They found the periphery, they've taken their documents, they've found their seat, they've taken a quiz, they've played Have You Ever and had fun, but now they're back taking another quiz. And now we're talking about, I haven't said one rule. I have not said one rule. I haven't said, you must do this and you must do that, because they are already starting to experience what it feels like to be in this classroom. And I love that, because I think the first day of school is always such a rule-burdened day. Students come out carrying their backpacks are probably 10 pounds heavier, because they've heard so many, things not to do from folks. So I really try to stay away from the rules as much as I can on this day. But I keep them so busy that they don't have time to think. I think it's like the Army a little bit. You're so busy, you don't have time to think about the rules. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And it works out so well. So then I give them.
Hey, Claudia.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I just like how, there's like that mystery, that intrigue, just not quite sure what's going to happen. That excitement of,
Yes.
This is something that we can do, which is very neat. Again, a couple of people have shared like a GoFundMe opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Shoes, like that could be a thought. Someone else said like a little scholarship fund, maybe, that more people are, that they can donate a little extra money to. So real good thoughts coming back from the TOSL as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And
Go
what
ahead.
else? I love that, because remember we talked yesterday that I didn't know if I was going to be able to multitask. I keep glancing over at the TOSL, but that means I have to move my mouse again. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad, and I'm so thankful for you all. I think a GoFundMe is a wonderful idea. And we always make sure that if there is a student who can't afford the trip, we make sure that that student is there. No one will be left behind. No one's left behind. It just doesn't happen. We won't let that happen. So
yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So thank you. Just wanted to say.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all these great ideas, and keep them coming, because every great idea to me is one that I'm going to embrace and try to put into action in my classroom. So I appreciate all of you. So the next thing that happens is to make this is really just classroom operation. It isn't about the content or the skills that I'm teaching. It's just to engage the students to be interested, to coming to my class and know that they're going to be doing something a little different when they're there. And this, I give a shout out to an elementary school teacher who wrote a book about a long time ago, probably 20 years ago, about how he kept his, how he operated his classroom, and his students loved it. I mean, he even went way beyond what I could possibly do, but he did have the same group of students all year. So I said, wow, I bet I could do that in high school. And it was a real risk, just like sitting here today is, but I was so happy I did it because the kids love it. And of course, being high schoolers, they can expand on the basic idea and the foundational ideas of having these jobs. So now they're interested. And I did provide the documents. I was telling Matt that I accidentally put the folder up for you without the correct sharing permission. So the second folder, the one that says this link will allow access, is the one you're going to want. There's nothing fancy here at all. There's no bells and whistles. It's just straightforward stuff, but there's a lot going on in that classroom. So I do have a list of the descriptions of the jobs that I have to date, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on other jobs that we could ask students to apply for. So I give them so there's a job application there too, and I ask them, after they've heard the descriptions and how much each job, pays, quote unquote, they pick their top three. So they put the one they really want the most, and then they have to actually write about how that will be of service to the optimal health of everyone in the class if they are performing that job. So I'll just give you a list of, I'll tell you what the jobs are just because they're fun. Of course, you have to have custodians, and they're the most valuable people in your building. I'm sure you're aware of that. And so they would come in either if they are close by, they might apply because they could get there quickly and get the class, making sure the desks are, in whatever order we're using that day, cleaning up, making sure the floor is kept clean, and the amounts that I pay them are not quite arbitrary. Some of them are per month and some of them are per diem, so per day that they actually do the job, because some of them are needed every day and not all of them are needed every day. Then we have secretaries of state, and they take notes and hand out documents, collect homework. Recyclers, of course, they are the environmentally friendly folks, and they collect and empty recyclables before or after class, depending on what we establish. We have chairpersons of the board. Those folks usually have pretty darn good penmanship. If we need things written on the whiteboard, that's their job, and some kids love to do that. We have high five recorders. Going back to that high five program, I give class rosters to the high five recorders, and I always have a person who's at least one backup person, because if someone's absent, then we want to make sure that the job can still be done. We have videographers, and you'll see that kids will gravitate toward jobs because they're things they love to do. So I have a few flip cameras, and we have iPads, and so we use, just whatever device we have to take our videos. We have attendance checkers. We have sign in and sign out dudes or dudesses or whoever you want to be for the restroom. We have timekeepers for games or skits or presentations. We have activity leaders who will engage the class in movement to improve fitness and academic performance. And they can bring to the table whatever they're very important. They get paid just about more than anybody else. We have meditation mindfulness leaders, and they're very important as well. And then we have bankers. So those really, the kids who think, well, I am the best math student, I assign a few students to each banker, and the banker will keep tabs on how many high fives you've earned, because each high five, in my class anyway, is worth $100. Um, and then how much they get paid for their job. So they get paid anywhere from like $300 per day as a timekeeper to $800 per month as an activity leader. So bankers keep tabs on 5 or 6 students and check in with them every month. And then students don't own their desks. That's another, so that goes back to that setting the tone. And this is where it gets really fun with high school students, because they say, wait, if I earn enough money to pay for my desk, can I buy my desk? And I say, absolutely. You can buy whatever desk you want in the room. So if someone else is sitting in the desk you want to sit in, they may have to pay their rent to you. It just becomes really fun. And of course, there are always high school students who say, well, I don't want to pay rent. I want to sit on the floor. And I'll say, absolutely. But if you make that choice, you don't get to sit in a desk for the whole month. So sometimes I have 2 or 3 students sitting up against, the back wall in the room taking their notes. They just make the choice, and then they often make the choice to pay the rent because it's not that comfortable to sit on the floor. It becomes really fun. So they might buy a desk that's in a place they really want to sit. So it's really fun. It's kind of how we roll. And then at the, I don't want to go too far forward. So the other thing that I like them to do, in addition to filling out the job application, is to make a little video to answer the interview questions that they'll email to me or put on my YouTube channel. And that's fun too. And then because we have a farmer's market going in town until the beginning of October, that's an assignment that I send right away as homework, and they can complete it anytime before the farmer's market concludes. And I want to shout out to Andy Milne, because he had put on, I think it was an advocacy assignment, and I think it was Andy Milne, I'm pretty sure, and kudos to you, Andy, because you always have such great ideas. And it had scaffolding to it. So I made this a scaffolded assignment. So it's only 10-point assignment, but if you go to the farmer's market and you meet the folks who run it and take your picture with them and send it to me, you get the 10 points. But if you go to the farmer's market and you bring a family member and you buy one item, even if it's just a cucumber or a tomato, and you take a picture with your family member and the farmer's market folks. Thanks, Andy, I see it. It's you.
The
it's
power
you.
of social media, Tazzle, everything. It's
it
right
was
there.
you, Andy. And I thank you so much for it, because it's been such a great hit. So anyway, the kids go, and then eventually they could earn up to 30 points for this 10-point assignment if they buy 2 items, make something, send me the pictures. You wouldn't believe the stuff these kids are creating and sharing with me. And it's all, I look at it as health enhancing behaviors and just this, a desire to do well, of course, but now the farmer's market is flooded with students, and to the point where it's hilarious that the people call me and say, are the kids on their way? Because there'd be 100 kids. It's just really fun. Really fun. I saw that, going back to the rent, I do have different amounts of rent, because some people, want to sit in a specific, we have like a high rent district. So I love that. Like if you want to sit by a window, it's more expensive. If you want to sit close to the door so you can get out fast, it's more money. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
I read.
So anybody want to throw? I feel like all I'm doing is talking a lot. And anybody want to say anything? I love the Tazzle. I'm starting to get the hang of looking at it. Um, yeah, this is wonderful.
Yeah, they were talking about a lot of books and stuff like that in the Tazo, which was cool because
Yeah.
I mean, this reminded me of like the biggest teach like a pirate hook like you could possibly have. And I just kind of suggested that book. And there's another book with a bunch of icebreakers kind of shared. And
Oh,
started
good.
started to talk about different desks that we have. I kind of complained that I only had one set of desks, and I wish there was many different types. But again, talking about going to the PTA or parent facility group and stuff like that. And
Right. You know,
so
I don't have physio ball desks, but I'd love to have those. Like that would be something that kids would probably pay a lot to sit on a physio ball instead of a regular boring desk. You know, um, I think that would be great to add to the mix. So
yeah,
anyway, that's the job. So remember that all along the kids are earning high fives, which are equal to $100. They're earning money for their jobs, and everyone has a job. So now they're saving all this money. So just keep that in mind for when we get to the end. Okay, so the middle. So a great sandwich would not be a sandwich without the beginning and the end, but the best stuff is in the middle. So this is the little in the middle that I wanted to talk about. And I think so many of you are headed in this direction or are well entrenched in skills-based health. If you aren't, I'm really encouraging you to, I mean, if you're here and you're watching this or you're watching all the wonderful presenters today and learning from this, I can't believe what a risk it was to put the Phys Ed Summit together. Think about that. Take a risk and try teaching one skills-based unit. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself, but the reason we're there is because, and I say this repeatedly to our administrators, we wouldn't send our athletes or actors to performance without practice. Why send our students into their adult lives without these critical skills? And again, kudos to Sarah Benes and also to Holly Alperin, who wrote the book, The Essentials of Teaching Health Education, which just came out this year, and you will tear it apart cover to cover. You'll just love this book. And also to Mary Conley, because when Sarah came to visit us, she and Holly had not written their book yet. And Mary really had the only skills-based health education book out there, really solid skills-based. And so I used Mary's book, even though it didn't really have lessons in it, it had examples. And so I took her rubrics and her examples and I just created my own. I didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't know what I was doing. When Sarah came in, I had a huge question mark over my head. How are we going to do this? And the biggest thing folks got was that they were so afraid of throwing away their favorite content. And I think that was the biggest thing for me too. I had this wonderful project called Dining In Tonight, and it was so wonderful. And it was this, kids go home and shop for organic foods or grow their own foods and cook for their families and analyze the health information, the nutrition information. I loved it so much. But I knew that it didn't fit exactly where I wanted it to fit, and I had to let it go for a while. So if you can let go of something you really love because you're going to embrace something that's good for kids, I can't say enough about this method. And then of course the
Claudia,
National Health Education Standard. Yes.
Claudia, just want to add in
Yep.
one thing about that because I haven't seen the first book, The Skills-Based Health Education, but I've got The Essentials of Teaching Health Education. And just throwing it out to everyone who's maybe considering going to that, skills-based approach that, I tweeted Sarah Bennis and Holly, and like they will respond to me in minutes. They're in a Voxer chat talking about the book. And it's like, if you have questions, if you're thinking about implementing this, like there are resources, there are people that are out there that can help you. And it's amazing that the two authors of the book will respond to your questions within moments. So very cool stuff. So thank you.
Very. Yeah, thanks, Matt. And also there's a Voxer group for the essentials of teaching health education. And if you're interested in being part of that group, if you are legitimately engaging in teaching skills-based health, then please let us know. Get into that Voxer group. I think either Sarah or Holly started it, but they would absolutely. There's a whole bunch of us in there now, and the conversations are great, and sometimes confused, and sometimes, which way do we go now? But I feel like we're building this wonderful method of teaching health that I can't believe we haven't done it before. I'm so surprised that we haven't done it before. So think of it like this. One of the things that you would hear Holly or Sarah say at a presentation would be, we don't need to know all of the chemicals in a cigarette to know that it's not healthy to smoke. So, decision-making, goal setting, analyzing influences, all of those things are skills that kids need to choose to live as healthy as they possibly can. I could go on and on about that, but I think if you have any questions, we're well in, and I'm happy to answer any as well. So to get started, we just chose one unit because I really was overwhelmed. So in our entire district, we taught one unit in my sophomore class. And that was, and the other thing was, people around you may, just like in PE, when you want to do something, you're visionary and you want to do these great things, and you can see what's best for your students going far ahead. Don't lose faith and don't give up, because it will feel like sometimes you feel like you're rattling your head and you just don't understand how to make it work. Just choose one unit and try it. Now that you have the book, you actually have the skill cues in the book that will help you to do a really good job to get started. The skill cues help a lot, and I highly recommend focusing on those as you put in that first unit. So we chose accessing information, and I felt that students really needed this early on because it would help them with all of their other classes. And these are some of the topics that my students chose when they did their project. And again, when I started this, thank goodness for Mary Conley, because she had an accessing information rubric, and I took and infused content that my students were interested in, and created this rubric for them. So basically what this would look like, here are some other suggested topics by Holly and Sarah. Obviously, you can see the breakdown of products, services, and information. And there's really a clear distinction between those three things, and I think it's important to recognize that, and that kids understand that. So we took this topic, and I used Mary's book to develop my rubrics, and what we did was analyzed websites. My students chose one website, and I assigned them 3 websites, including Wikipedia. And I said, I want you to use this evaluation tool, which was on a Google form. And I have that too. I haven't put that on the Tozzle, but I will. I'll share it with anybody who would like to use it. I created it on a Google form, and it came from Mary's original work. And it asked questions about websites. And so they would, let's say they chose food labels. No, let's say they choose, some students really, because we haven't gone to analyzing that in this project yet. We've done it in nutrition, but how about personal trainers? So they would look up personal trainers on the CDC, and they'd be like, I can't find anything here. And I'd say, right, so you're trying to find a valid and reliable site to find good information that you can use if you're going to hire a personal trainer. So Now we know that this is not the place. And you're going to know that because you have looked at authors, you have looked at updates of the site. You have, there's probably about 30 questions on this evaluation tool. And it really makes you dig deeply into the website to understand where your information is coming from. So that's pretty cool. And they would do that for all of the 4 sites. And then they would choose one to use for their research. And then they would, and I can show you one of the projects too. They really, what a great job they did with showing the positives and negatives of each of the websites. They would show, okay, I liked, I chose, I don't know a personal trainer website, but personaltrainers.org because, and they would give you things they pulled right out of the evaluation tool. And I know that's not super exciting, but the skill these kids have when they finish this project is amazing. And they can apply it in every other research project they do. And so that was my reason for choosing. Students encountering vast amounts of ever-changing health information, and the ability to sift through it is critical to them understanding and making decisions about their health. So I was scared to death, but I jumped in and did this project. And I love doing it first because it's probably the most difficult one for my students. And once they knocked it off after a few weeks, they felt really successful. And it really came together for them in the end when they put all the information together. So they would give us, their presentation would include an about page about their topic. And then it was really about evaluating the websites where they were finding health information. And that's pretty cool because that's a skill they had never used before. They just were Googling everything, I think Amy Lauren Smith did a wonderful presentation on, are we Googling our health? Yes, yes, we are. So this helps them. So it's a little bit boring. So I know I don't have much time left here, but.
We're just over 10 minutes to go. So.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions before?
They're kind of rocking it back in the Tazzle. I don't think there's any questions as of right now, but we've already got a book list kind of set up for people to do. We've got a resource document. Some people are talking about how they could maybe use Seesaw and pull in that as like a portfolio tool as a part of the skills-based health, approach. And
awesome.
So yeah. So we got to our last day now.
Oh, yay. I love the last day. And I don't love it because the kids are leaving, because by this time we have developed a relationship that is rock solid. And it makes me feel so good because that's how I know, that I don't want them to leave and they don't want to leave, and it feels pretty good. So the last day, so they have all this alleged money, this health bucks or whatever we want to call it. And I don't use real money. If you want to, you can, but I did use real, like Monopoly money or whatever in the beginning, but it's so much to manage. So we just use, an Excel spreadsheet now and keep the bankers, keep everybody honest, so that's kind of the way we look at it. So now the students get, I all along the whole year, I am buying ridiculous things like crazy straws and bouncy balls and squirt guns, ridiculous things that don't cost much money, or that I could buy like on, Oriental Trading, or I am a huge yard sale geek. I love yard sales, so I'll find things at yard sales. And I try to put a lot of health related things in, like, I might put a jump rope or a balance ball or something that, kids can use to be active. But the sillier they are, the better. Even though they're 16 years old, they love this. So if they come up and look at all of the items I have, and I do this the day before my review for our final exam or final project. So all these goofy things are listed up there, and I hire 2 students who who unknowing to the rest of the class and to them get paid extra money. I don't tell them this until after they've already volunteered. And they register for the auction. They pick their favorite number and they go by, and I teach them about different auctions before we start, different types of auctions. And they choose their auction number, they put their name down, and then I have two students who are working to remind me what number we're on or what the description of the item is. And then we start the bidding, and it is hilarious. I'll open the bidding with, here is this set of number 2 Ticonderoga pencils. And the opening bid is
favorite. Those are my favorite.
They're the best. They're the best. For $100, and of course, some very gregarious student will say $100, or I always say to them, you can bid lower than the opening bid when you start, and then we always go back to the original bidder. So let's say Matt bids $100 because Ticonderogas are his favorite. Then if the next person outbids him, and I don't let them bid in increments of lower than $25 because you'll never finish the auction. You'll never finish. $101, so they have to bid. Someone bids $125. I love Ticonderoga pencils. And then Matt, so they're just having fun. They're just having fun. And there's not enough of that, I don't think. So I come back to Matt. Matt, what do you say? 150? And he says, no, I'm out. And he can't go back into that bid again. But the person who had the higher bid, now I'm going to say, I have 125. Do I hear 150? Just like a real auction. And Matt can come back in for the next item, which may very well be another set of Ticonderoga pencils. But the idea is, I always say to the kids, they're saving their money. They're saving their money. And I say to them, you can't take this money anywhere else. Spend it, spend it. So sometimes they will save. There's always one really quiet kid who worked hard all semester and has oodles of money and will be sitting in the back waiting to bid on, I'll always have something like a gift card to our favorite country store across the road from our school, or an iTunes gift card, not in huge amounts, but I always lose a little money during the school year when I'm buying this stuff. And so we build up to a crescendo. And sometimes I'll have an ice cold water on the day of the exam, or a healthy snack on the day of the exam. And kids will bid on those things, and I'll bring those in on our exam day. So that's how it goes. And so all of it kind of comes together at the end in this crazy auction, but the kids love it. It's been a big success. And, it's one less thing that they feel real pressure about. And I think that's valuable. So that's all I got. That's, if anybody has any thoughts about, they do love food. I will go back to one thing about food in my classroom. I know that I'm sure that it's different in every district in every country. And I just feel terrible when kids come to school and teenagers should not be in school at 7:30. They just shouldn't. But that's what time we start. And most of them come in with coffee. I don't allow coffee to come into my classroom. I'll say you can put it right on the shelf over there, but if you have water, you can bring that. And if you have a plant, you can bring that. We find out about food allergies, and then I'll say, if you have something that grew on a tree or on a shrub, blueberries, bananas, anything that's a plant that can come in, and you can eat it during my class as long as you clean up after yourself. And you always get a high five for eating nutritious foods. The other thing I give high fives for, that I always give them for, is using a reusable water bottle. instead of bringing plastic bottles in. So I try to reinforce those behaviors that are health enhancing, and give high fives for those. And you'd be amazed at how many kids come in with fruit or vegetables and water because they know they can. And so if that helps, the type of food they're putting into their bodies, then I'm excited. If it's organic or if they grew it in their own garden, they get extra high fives, so it's always a reward. Always, always a reward, never a, you didn't do it right. So that's how we roll. That's how we roll.
That's great. And again, people have just said how engaging it is and how it just keeps people interested in the class and the content, and how really you're bringing real live content, to your students, just like that, giving them jobs that they're going to be using or can be using later on in their lives, and just it turns it into a completely engaging experience. So people are talking about race vendors as to get some extra goodies to give out. I know sometimes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I know sometimes I've got stuff left over from Jump Rope for Heart or Hoops for Heart, and like those are just kind of things that I have laying around, and kind of grab some of that. Yeah, people talk about donating extra things from races and stuff like that. What else? I thought there was another one out there.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So some great thoughts out there. But Claudia, thank you for obviously being here and being with us. And one more time, we need to see your face, so you might want to stop screen sharing.
Oh my goodness.
But
okay.
Yeah, one more time, just thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing this. Again, she's got some resources down below. Claudia, that link wasn't working, so I think we're just going to have to go back and look at that folder link, but we will update that.
Oh, I bet I messed that up.
That's okay. And so we'll just go back and look at it, so you can click on those documents. You can see the description of the jobs and all that other stuff. Okay. Don't forget, everyone who's listening, you've got your Phys Ed Summit badges. Click on that link that's there. You've all just earned one.
Yay.
Yeah. Let me go back. But anyways, you've all just earned a badge because you've watched a session. So you've got to step it up and watch earn another badge. But anyways, that's a really good start. And then I've posted a link to the feedback survey. It is not there yet. You will have to go back after the Phys Ed Summit and fill out the feedback survey. But that's how you'll get a certificate of completion and things like that. So do not forget to go back and do that. Coming up on the Phys Ed Summit, again, 23 now consecutive hours left, and about 40 presentations to go. We've got Lindsay Dillon, and she's planning a successful field day and family fitness night. And we've got Mel Hamada and Adam Levo, who are 5-time Phys Ed Summit presenters, and some of them have presented twice in one Phys Ed Summit. And they are putting the feedback into feedback. So those are 2 sessions coming up next. But Claudia, you got this thing kicked off. It was fabulous. I loved learning from you and learning with you. So.
Oh, I love learning with you, Matt. You were terrific. I'm so grateful for all your help. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope that I had offered you something of service. So.
I think people are going to be talking about this for quite some time, and they'll get their ideas rolling, and everyone's going to keep sharing. But
right.
One more time, arms up, big and strong. Bodie strong.
Bodie strong. Phys Ed Summit.
Right. Keep battling that breast cancer out there, and
thank you.
And support of that family.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Thanks for being here, Claudia. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I am Matt Pomeroy, and we're signing off from the first day, the last day, and a little in the middle.
Thank you, Matt.
Bye now.